Hello, hi, this is Ron with WorkMax. Hi, this is Ron with WorkMax. Thanks for joining. I apologize for the delay. We're having some audio technical issues. So can you just, if you're able to hear me, can you just put a chat in the go-to meeting? Let me know that you're able to hear me. Yes, you can hear me. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you. And I apologize again. I'm not sure what's happening here with my headset, but I think we're good. So we'll go ahead and get started, and thanks again for being patient with me here. So my name is Ron Kraft with WorkMax. I'm going to be going through this webinar today and showing you the WorkMax platform. My contact information is here, so any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll make this available afterwards as well. If you would like to take a deeper dive into the system or see some more features or functions and really how we can help you guys to streamline and automate processes, would love to have those conversations with you. So today our focus is going to be on optimizing time tracking with WorkMax. How we do that is through our cloud platform, which is kind of two-part, an online control center for the office, but also a mobile app for guys in the field where they can do just like what we're seeing here, have a mobile app time tracking. We do things like GPS and facial recognition to help validate and verify that data. We also have capabilities for offline. So even if they're in an area where there's no signal, that's not a problem. Our app is also available in Spanish. So if needed, if you have employees that are Spanish speaking, that's a setting that you can turn on, which makes the app available to them in Spanish. We also have custom digital forms. So in addition to time tracking, if needed, we also can do things like daily logs, change orders, safety forms, toolbox talks, things like that. That's an option in our system as well. Now, all of this data that we collect from the field, we are also able to integrate and connect that with your accounting system, with your payroll. WorkMax integrates with over 100 different accounting systems and payroll, so we can make that process very, very streamlined and automated. Now, having said that, we're going to go ahead and just jump in. Throughout the demo, if there are any questions, feel free just to go ahead and put those in the questions box, and we'll address those and answer those as we can. So let me go ahead and switch out of here. Let's get into WorkMax. Okay, so as I mentioned, WorkMax is a cloud platform. So there's two sides to the system. Okay, this part here is that control center that I mentioned. So here is where those in the office, essentially, you're able to log in online and view that data as it's submitted from the field. This is web-based, so you can access this from anywhere at any time. Whether you're in the office, you're at home, you're in the field, just jump online and you have access to the data. Okay, so really giving you more accessibility to all of that data. The other side of the system is the mobile app. Here's where the guys in the field, that's what they use to clock in and out, report their time. The mobile app, as I mentioned, it does work offline. So no signal, no problem. It still works. When they get back in range and they do get a signal, it'll update and send back to the office. Okay. Now I'm going to go through just an example of using the mobile app and clocking in, but then seeing that information back here in this control center. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my phone just right here on my desk. Let me make sure I can get it connected first. Now with the WorkMax mobile app, we do have multiple workflows as to how we collect the data. This can be done individually. Each employee can just clock in and out on their own, or this can be done on a dedicated device. Maybe it's a tablet or an iPad that the foreman has, and then everyone uses that device to punch in, punch out. Kind of a kiosk type setting, right? Or this can be done at a crew level as well. All right. The foreman can just clock in for his entire crew and then just go to work that way. All right. So there's flexibility there. And you can use a combination of those examples, those workflows. Maybe you have some guys where we do want to just keep that individual, but others, we're going to go ahead and just do that at a crew level. So it's not an all or nothing type scenario. You can do a combination of those workflows. And then I mentioned also that the mobile app is available in Spanish. So I'll show you an example of that as well, where for those employees that are Spanish speaking, if needed, that's a setting that you can turn on. Okay, let me reconnect my phone here again, sorry. There it is. Okay, so I've got the WorkMax app installed, and we open that up. All right, it's a simple pin pad. Okay, each employee is assigned a pin. Now, and if I put the pin number in for an individual employee, all right, let's say we've got George here who's gonna clock in. So George goes to clock in, and right away we get our confirmation page. Okay, the camera turns on because we do facial recognition, making sure that there's no buddy punching, no ghost punching, right? Now, right here, this is where they can select which job, which project, which location are they working. Okay, now everything in our system is permission-based. That means that you control what they can see and do on the app. All right, that includes assigning specific jobs, specific codes to individuals. Right, I might have 100 active jobs in my system right now, but I've only assigned these few to George. Right, so making sure that the right job and right information is being reported on. This is helpful if you do have different groups, different departments, different divisions, and you want to make sure that only these guys are seeing these jobs, only those guys are seeing those jobs. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these projects, and then they can select their task or their code. Right, now, obviously, these are going to be your codes that we pull over from your accounting system. Okay, well, that's through our integration. We can do that. But these codes can also be job specific. Okay, so depending on the project that they select, only those associated codes would be available. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these codes and now just confirm. Okay, now that's complete. Sends the data back to the office. So just a couple simple steps. They put their PIN number in, they select the job and the code, and then confirm. Now back here in this control center, all right, so let's say that we're back in the office, okay? We go here to the time section, and if we're looking at today's date, right, there we go. There's George. He's just clocked into this job. Here's what he's doing, date, time, right? So it's automated and in real time that you see that back in the office, okay? Now, a couple of things to point out, and again, these are some of those bullet points that we touched on earlier as far as optimizing that time tracking, doing things like GPS, facial recognition. So on the left-hand side, you're gonna notice there's these tags, okay? These are alerts about the details of those records. Anything that's red is an alert that's telling you that there's a problem. It's something that doesn't match up, okay? So for example, GPS, right? If I see that that's red, that's telling me that he's clocked in, but he's not at the job site, okay? So if I select that record, scroll down, look at those details. Okay, here we go. Here's the GPS map, right? There is the job site. Okay, there's the geo fence around that job site. But all the way down here, okay, there's George clocked in 6.5 miles away. Okay, so getting that visibility in the field, making sure guys are actually on site when they're clocking in and out, and not at Starbucks getting their morning coffee or whatever, right? Now the other thing is here, we took that picture when we clocked in. Okay, so if I see here this facial recognition, if that's red, again, that's an alert. It's telling me that whoever clocked in does not match the picture for George. So again, let's scroll down, we'll look at the details. So here under recognition, okay, you can see here, there's George. That's the George we know, but this is the guy who is clocked in, all right? Now WorkMax, we actually developed this patented technology where what this is doing is it's actually comparing these images, and then it will alert you if it's not a match, all right? Now, that's not required. I mean, we can turn this off if it's not needed. There's also no added cost for it. It's just whether or not we want to use that feature. Okay. The goal here, again, is to validate and verify that data. Okay. So just a quick example. Now I can't wake up late one day, hurry and text my buddy and be like, hey, can you clock in for me? Well, if we're going to take a picture, then no, because it's going to get flagged in the system just like that. Okay, so again, our goal here, we're trying to optimize, to streamline and automate these processes, but also validate and get better accuracy with the data. Okay. Okay, now let's say though that maybe the guys work on multiple jobs, multiple tasks throughout the day, right? Let's say George is done with this first one, okay? So all he does, he would just go back to the app, put his PIN number back in, and right away, it's gonna give his current status, okay? It's gonna show where he's at, what he's doing, and how long has he been there. If he's done with this one and he's just moving on to the next, he just goes to clock in again. All right, but now we're going to change locations. Now let's say he's at this job site and over there he's doing something else. Okay, go ahead and confirm. Again, that sends it back to the office. So we come back here and we're just going to refresh this page. All right, now we've got a new record for George. Now he's at this job site doing something else, but the system is going to automatically clock him out of the previous as soon as he moves on to the next. All right, so if needed, they can just move throughout their day, clock into the next, clock into the next, clock into the next. Okay, at the end of the day, yes, he will clock out, but we then will have captured and broken down each record individually. Okay. All right, now I'm going to switch back over to the mobile app real quick. Just give you a couple other examples. We're going to go back here. I'm going to put in a different PIN number. Okay, let's say I've got Pedro here who's going to clock in. Right now you can see here when he goes to clock in, the entire app is available in Spanish. Okay, so that is a setting. Now this just makes it easier for those guys to follow along, know where to go, what to do. Okay, and that's employee specific. So if needed, you can turn that setting on for those individuals and make the app available to Spanish. If I go back here and put in a different PIN number, right, it flips it back to English, okay? I'm gonna show you one other example at a crew level, right? Instead of individually, maybe we wanna do that at a crew level. So I'm gonna put the PIN number in for, let's say like a foreman, okay? I've got Tony here in my system as a foreman. When Tony goes to clock in, now he can clock in for himself as well as Tony's crew. right? He's just going to grab all of his guys, all right? And now you also have flexibility here where if, let's say this guy's not working today, so instead I'm going to come down here and grab this guy who's going to be working with us. So you can kind of pick and choose your guys as needed, or you just have your default group. Okay, same thing. We're going to come here and select the project and the task. Go ahead and confirm. That sends it back to the office. So again, we're going to refresh the page. And now we've got Tony and all of his entire crew that have just started and clocked into that project. Okay, so again, either individually or at a crew level, you can do either example. The goal, again, we're trying to optimize that time tracking, get better accuracy with the data. You're seeing this in real time. We're getting those validating features like GPS and facial recognition. Okay, now the last thing here I want to touch on is WorkMax is a platform, and so there are multiple modules within our system. Time tracking is just one of those. Assets is another feature, another module where we do equipment. We can help you track your tools, machinery. You can see here, there's the option where you can tag an asset to a time record. There's also digital forms, which I touched on earlier, and I'm going to go to here just a little bit, but there's also our insight module, which is where we do live dashboards showing job progress and productivity. I'm going to touch on just briefly though the digital forms, because this one is really critical for a lot of companies, because here this is where you can come in here and create unlimited custom forms. Okay, things like change orders, daily reports or daily logs, reimbursement forms, inspections, checklists, toolbox talks, safety forms, right? So it's unlimited forms that you can either build, or we have this existing library of pre-built forms that you can have access to. Now, the really cool thing though is that with these forms, you can actually tie these forms into their time records, right? I'm going to come back over here to this daily report as an example. Now here, in this daily report, this is going to pull in the job details, okay? They can put in work logs, right? Maybe you need more job notes, more details, more, maybe we want to have them report materials and quantities. They can attach pictures to the form, unlimited pictures and video. Questions that you build into the form can also be conditional. So depending on how they respond, it might require more detail, all right? Like this question here, any accidents on site today? If I say yes, okay, well now it's gonna require me to fill out an injury report, right? So there's logic behind these forms. But I mentioned earlier, right, there's some settings. You can tie in these forms to the time records. If I come over here to this build section, so this is gonna show all the forms I've already built, or I can just click new to build a new one. But I can take a form like this daily report that I built and then come here under the requirements and say, you know what, I need this form to be required for these employees when they clock out for the day. Okay, maybe it's my foreman, right? So now when these guys go to clock out, guess what? It won't let them clock out until they fill out their daily. Okay, so we can require forms when they clock in, when they clock out, just helping to make sure that you're getting that information back when you need it, right? And not at the end of the week when they're scrambling and trying to remember who did what and when for how long, right? No, here we can just turn this setting on. We can require those forms when they clock in, when they clock out. So that's a great way to capture additional detail, additional information, all through the same app that they're already using to clock in and out for their time. Okay. Again, going back to our theme today, optimizing that time tracking with WorkMax, being able to capture that information easily through the mobile app, and if needed, getting this additional detail as well. Okay. All right, and then the last point, just as we kind of wrap up here, all of this data, all this information that we've captured within the field, we do have the ability to integrate and connect to your accounting system and payroll. So we have our integration tool, which is called ConnectMax, which is essentially kind of like a bridge between WorkMax and your accounting system. But what that does is that allows us to automatically import all of your jobs, all of your codes, all of your employee data. So whenever you add a new job in your accounting system, you add a new employee, you inactivate a job, that data gets sent over to WorkMax automatically, right? So there's no double entry, you don't have to download anything, it just updates behind the scenes. Then we use WorkMax to collect the data, just like what we've done here. And then when you're ready, we can then export that and send that back for job costing and for payroll. Okay, awesome. We've got a few minutes here left. I want to thank you for taking time today to jump on. And again, appreciate your patience on our slight delay getting started today. But I want to open this up for any questions that you guys might have. And if I'm not hard set on time, if we go over a little bit, I hope you're okay with that. And we want to make sure we can get this to you. But also, let's, if needed, again, we can schedule a follow-up and kind of go through a more in-depth detail if needed. So I've got a couple of questions here. Can WorkMax feed foundation on new information? This is from Courtney. So yes, with WorkMax and the integration, I'm going to pull up our integration tool here real quick, which is called ConnectMax, and kind of show you that. Instead of telling you about it, I'll show you, right? Let's pull this up here. Okay, wrong screen. Let's get that over here. Okay, here we go. Yep. So this is WorkMax. Okay, this is kind of that bridge piece, right? So what happens is when we create your WorkMax account, we come in here and use this tool to make a direct connection to the database for your accounting system, right? Foundation. So what this does, just like I mentioned earlier, where this will allow us to then automatically import or pull over that detail from Foundation or your accounting system into WorkMax. So when you add a new job in Foundation, or you add a new employee, or you make a change to a job or a code, this piece will pull that over to WorkMax automatically. Okay, this just runs in the background. Now to send the data back, right? Now you can see here, we've already got all the time records in the system because we've collected them using the mobile app, right? So here what we do, you're basically coming in here, putting in the date range that you need for that pay period or whatever, and then just export. Okay, now this is going to download a formatted CSV file or an Excel file with all of those records that we didn't just take and upload straight back into Foundation or to your accounting system. Okay, now we can send that either to accounting, back to your accounting system, or if we want to export that to a third party, like Paychex, Paylocity, ADP, or whatever, you can do so. Okay, we can customize this export. That's very, very flexible. We can come in here and you can select what fields of information, what details do I need to send back. Okay, here in this example, you can see I've got basic details, right? The employee name, the job, the code, their total time. But if needed, there's all this additional detail. Okay, do we need the job classification? Do we need the department, the division, the union, the sign off, the approval, whatever, right? So we can customize this export. And then again, this is just going to download a formatted CSV or an Excel file with all of that data. Okay. Another question here: Do you connect with does ConnectMax work with LCP certified payroll? So with certified payroll in WorkMax, we are just the data collection tool. Okay, we're collecting the hours, we're collecting the data. We don't do anything by way of dollars. Okay, so there's no rates, there's no wages, there's no billing in WorkMax. Okay, we're collecting the data, but then we're tagging that data so that way once it gets back into your accounting system, it then knows the appropriate rates and wages and billing to apply. Okay, so as part of that, WorkMax also has additional custom fields that we can use to tag the data. Okay, so here's an example. You can see here I've got this field here for job classification, right? So if I come here under the settings, here is where we could come in here and you can create this custom field. In this example, I'm using this as a job classification or a trade, right? I need to know, was that work done as a laborer or as a machine operator, right? So I'm just tagging the data so that, again, once this now gets back into your accounting system and it's going to see, okay, this was a laborer, this was a machine operator, then it knows those appropriate rates and wages and billing to apply. So we are just the data collection tool that feeds into your accounting system, which then is going to populate those certified payroll reports and things like that. Okay, another question here from Heidi. Does ConnectMax allow the zip code to be exported to paychecks to report local income taxes for payroll? We do have, let me come here, I think that is a field. I select this little box here. So this is all the additional details, you know, what fields we can actually view in here. And I want to say, let's go back over maybe to the ConnectMax tool. See if we have, yeah, export fields and zip. There's time zone. I want to say we do. I don't know why we wouldn't. Because we do have those under the project details. So if I come here under the settings and I go to my projects or my locations, right, this is where we pull, like there's the zip right there. And so I'm not seeing it right offhand right now. I probably have to check with our integrations team to see where and how we make that field available. But if it's in the system, then we should be able to export that without a problem. So I'll take a note and I can follow up with you offline, Heidi, and get you more detail around that. Another follow-up question, where are the custom forms housed once completed? Are they able to be exported? Good question. Yeah, so if we come over here to the forms module, this is where, again, we're going to see kind of the library of existing forms that we've built. Or now, if I come here to this completed tab, okay, this is going to be kind of your digital archive, right, of where all of those forms are stored and housed. So here's where you can go back, you can search previous days, weeks, months, right? If there's ever any questions on a job, right, we can go back to that project on that date and then pull up that form. Okay, here's this daily report that got submitted. All right, here's the job details. Here is their work logs. Here's their quantities. Here's pictures. Here's their notes, signatures. Okay, now you can then come here and print this off. You can download it. You can save it. You know, do whatever you need to. But yeah, they're stored here in the cloud under this completed tab. Now, there's also a setting, though, that you can apply where if I come back over here to the build tab, remember this is where we were going through those settings and requiring a form when it clock in and out, right? But there's another setting where you could also say, when that form gets filled out, I need a copy of that automatically emailed to this individual or to multiple, right? To the manager, the super, to the office, okay? So you can receive an automated email copy when that form is completed and submitted, or you're just gonna get a copy of everything right here under this completed tab, where again, you can print these off, download them, and do what you need to. Okay, great questions. All right. Okay, I'll open it up just for any last questions here. Again, if you need to, or if you would like to schedule a follow-up, please reach out. My contact information here. Let me put that back up. Let me throw that back up here. There we go. So my contact information is going to be listed here. Would love to schedule some time with you and take a deeper dive. Got a couple other questions here. Cost for employees, schedule a follow-up, purchase an order form to be created and used. Oh, can a purchase order form be created and used? So yeah, definitely. And on the cost and the licenses, I'll follow up with you, Heidi, and go over that with you. WorkMax is it's a per employee license. So anyone that we are collecting the time for, anyone that needs to log into the system would require a license, and then you just pay monthly for those licenses. Okay, so I can follow up with you and give you a little bit more detail with that. Okay. So with that, thank you guys. I appreciate the time today. Hopefully this was beneficial and helpful. We'll have this recording available after the call as well, and I do have those who are in attendance here that I can follow up with you and see if we can schedule some more one-on-one time and really see how we can help you guys to optimize your time tracking with WorkMax. So with that, thank you again. Hope you have a great day, and thank you.